Well, it's another one of these like wet hair, no makeup, pajama kind of videos. And that's just going to be the way it is tonight. Um, I've had one of those days where I was really back to back to back, and I knew it was going to be like that today. I had this thought that maybe between things I would find some time to do my video while I was in daylight and in clothes at my office, but that didn't happen. And that's all right. So, what's on my mind today is the concept of humanity. Obviously, in our country right now, we have this virus going around, and everybody's kind of freaking out about it. And um, the first case of this virus is in New Orleans now, and so there's an extra level of local freak out added to that right now. But that's not the kind of humanity that I'm thinking of right now. Because I had said that on Mondays I was going to talk about my work and being, a person in the kind of work that I do. And so the kind of humanity that I'm thinking of tonight, is the idea that, we all are in this together on this planet. Sounds real woo-woo. But I've had several encounters with people today that just continue to reinforce what I tend to believe, which is what I just said. um, and some of the ideas that have been floating around my head around this are the fact I also had a cocktail after work today with a colleague who I really just super respect and enjoy his presence. He's building his own practice. He's kind of doing things that are unique. And but what we were talking about tonight is like the idea of like we're just doing the best we can as therapists. Um, and people, maybe some folks have this idea that therapists, you're going to go to therapy and this person that you're meeting with is going to, help you fix all your problems, and they're going to be wise and they're going to have all the answers. And that's really not what therapy is about, at least in its ideal sense. And this is what my colleague and I were talking about tonight. Like, to me, therapy in its ideal sense is that we bring ourselves to the table. And a good therapist who's been trained knows how to do that in a way that respects the client's boundaries. In other words, my experience that I bring to that table, I'm able to keep as my own and not place onto my client to kind of fix or deal with or commiserate with. Like, that's a boundary. However, look at my wet hair is already like making my shirt wet. I love it. I literally leapt out of the shower and did my video tonight. Anyway, the concept is tricky because as I was sitting with a client today, she was talking about things that I feel very personally affected by because they mirror so much of my own issues with my family of origin and the things I've had to learn as an adult, even an older adult even, about how to take care of myself and not take care of other people at my own expense. And I'm listening to her and I'm talking about this with her. And at the same time, in my head and my heart, I'm feeling it. But as what I'd consider a responsible therapist, I'm keeping that inside. But I absolutely bring it to the table because there's an energy that goes back and forth that is called countertransference. And, I feel it. And I feel like that's what makes this work so meaningful to me. And so you can be a therapist who's trained in all these methods and all these like techniques, but if you can't find that common humanity, that that positive regard for everybody that comes into your office, and that may come from a shared experience, or it may come from something else altogether, or a shared sense of humanity, like I often feel, then you may not be as effective as you think you are. But it's a learning process. My colleague and I tonight were saying, like, we don't know if we're good, bad, neutral, but we're just doing the best we can and trying to bring our best selves into our work with our clients. I had another encounter with someone who is a supervisee today, who's a social worker, and we were talking about the concept of like, how do you keep your professional boundary and still be inclusive? How do you practice from a we perspective rather than a you perspective? And I love that idea. And talking about that with her today was just kind of like really invigorating. And so today I'm just thinking about how we're all kind of in this soup of life together, and a therapist is just as human as the client sitting across from them. And, sometimes I'm really moved, not just by the life stories and the struggles and the successes that my clients bring to me, but also from my own experience with those things that come up for me as I'm sitting in that 50-minute session with someone. And how when that 50-minute session is over, how I'm thinking to myself, I just learned from them. And I just felt my feelings with them. And, hopefully, I'm doing a good job at helping them to reframe and to focus on their goals and to, work on taking care of themselves and all those things. But I'm also thinking about how I'm moved by my work and by the shared humanity that I get to experience on a regular basis. So that's where my thoughts are today. Feeling very grateful to be self-employed, although right now with this virus going around, I hope that I'm able to keep working for a while and people still come for a while into their sessions before everybody starts getting quarantined. It's a little scary. Anyway, that's where I am. Feeling a little wound up tonight. It's pretty late and I'm still feeling kind of so I'm going to do a mind-body practice that's super simple, but for me helps me to just kind of drop back into my own body and kind of brings a sense of calm when I need it. So I'm going to do that. Before I do that, the song that I'm going to add to my playlist tonight is a song by John Prine called Clay Pigeons, which sometimes when I hear this song, I just get tearful. I love it because to me it's all about starting over every day. Like, I think about starting over every day in some way, shape, or form. My clients are starting over, many of them after long life struggles, and are trying to kind of just face each day really with courage and with reflection. And that's what the song is about to me, but it's also about reconnecting to the humanity around us as we're trying to grow on our own. We're also reconnecting. It's just a lovely song, and John Prine is just a national treasure. So Clay Pigeons by John Prine is what I'm going to add. And the mind-body practice that I'm going to do tonight is super simple, and I'm going to do it probably standing up before I go to bed. And I don't even know why. I just feel like I'm going to need that kind of stability to kind of bring into this practice, but I'll just demonstrate it really quickly because it's super simple. So as I breathe, I am going to put one hand on my heart and one hand on my core, which you really can't see, but one hand is on my core, so right over my navel, and one hand is on my heart. And I'm just going to breathe, and to me that just, kind of, there's some exercises I've done where it's kind of like gripping my body. I don't really need to kind of hold on for safety. But I want to be able to just bring myself a sense of calm that comes from touch. And, we can bring this kind of healing touch to ourselves if we try. So to me, I am going to do this. I'm going to stand up this evening when I do mine before I go to bed, but right now I'm just going to demonstrate this. I'm just going to breathe. And if anybody watching this video wants to do this along with me, go for it. I am going to ground my feet. I am sitting right now. And as I ground my feet, I am feeling, like I always do, the warm wood. Thankfully it's warm tonight, underneath my feet. And I'm feeling the skin, my skin, against the wood. And I'm going to sit up as straight as I can, naturally, but just keep my backbone straight. And again, instead of relaxing my hands, I'm going to place one here and one on my core. I'm going to just breathe. And for me, whenever I do a standing meditation or mind-body practice, I don't generally close my eyes because I have some balance issues, but if somebody wants to try that, then go for it. But I am going to rest my gaze when I stand somewhere out in front of me. Just let my eyes relax, my gaze just soften. But if I were doing this with a client in my office, sitting down, I would ask them to close their eyes and just start to bring awareness to the breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Envisioning the lungs as one big balloon or two parallel balloons. The goal is to fill those balloons. And it may take a few breaths in order to really let the air fully go all the way down and all the way out. As you breathe deeper, using your full lung capacity, you can feel the hand that's on your core expanding when you inhale and contracting when you exhale. Whereas this hand should stay relatively stable. The next step is just to feel the presence of your own hands against your body. As I'm sitting now, I can feel my fingertips against the skin of my chest, and it feels warm, and it feels comforting. The hand on my core, I feel gently pressing on that area, just a reassuring presence. I feel the fabric underneath my fingertips and my core, and I feel my lungs expanding and contracting. And having my hands on my own body is reassuring and comforting. I am whole. I am safe. And I am well. I am whole. I am safe. And I am well. I just threw those mantras, those affirmations in there for lagniappe, for extra. But truly, just, holding my hands can be a comforting presence. You can kind of encourage the body to just do what it needs to do. We breathe without thinking about it, but when we breathe with intention and we give ourselves that reassurance, it can just add a little bit of an extra sense of safety and security that sometimes we really need. So, especially when we're feeling our humanity.